Hello and welcome to our video on how to run an event for SolveForge Fusion using our online software. Now, in a previous video, we showed you how to set up an account, set up an organization, and set up an event. So here we are. We've got the event set up, and as you can see, we have some players. Now, the way players can get involved is over here on the share section. You can copy this link, and once people use that link, they can log into solveforgefusion.com and set themselves up for the event. As you can see, we have 5 players here who have done this. So anyway, this is when you log in, you'll see all your registered players and you'll see the number of checked in players. Now, when a player registers for an event, they can assign a deck. As you can see, Alec here has assigned a deck, and if you select that tab, it will show you the deck they have assigned. And we talked in the previous video about having this required or not for the event, but I can see now the deck that he has registered. If you have it as a requirement, then what you can do is select the player, select this little icon here, and send upload email request. And this will ask them to upload their deck. We can also have players check themselves in prior to the event. They can log in and check themselves in. If they haven't, you know they're here and they're coming through the door and you want to do a manual check-in, that's fine. You can do exactly what I did before. You can go to check-in and they are checked in. And you can see it's gone green for check-in. What I'm going to do is use the mass check-in all players here so I can check them all in at the same time. And you see they're all green. Other things you can do, you can export the roster if you'd like. You can send it to everybody to say, hey, upload your decks, remember your decks. You can also bulk add players or add players via email. And that'll give you a list. You can comma separate the players, first name, last name, email, that's the format you're looking for. And you can bulk upload. If you've got regular players who come in all the time, you can just add them. Or if they've got an account and you know their email, you can simply put their email addresses in. Again, you can bulk do this as well. So once you've got all your players, they're all checked in, you're ready to start the tournament. You can have people who are coming in on the day. If you want to add them, there is an add player button here, and you can fill in their details. You'll note that after their name now comes your Discord name. So if you're using this for online and people need to find people on Discord to play, that's where you'll see it. Now, once you've got all your players checked in, we're going to run this with 5, so we'll assign buys. We'll cover that in a minute. You're ready to start. So to start the tournament, you head to pairings and select start tournament. It'll take a minute. Would you like to set up round tournament? I will say later. So we have our pairings. Nice and simple here. We can export the pairings to print if you'd like to put them around the room, but anyone who's logged in as a player will see their pairings and know which table to sit on. And as we set this up in the tournament as table 1 being table 1, it'll show them table 1. In the event setup, if you've got a multifunction room and you want to start on table 20, table 30, it'll do that for you as well. And you'll see here that Robert has been assigned the buy. When you've got everyone seated and you're ready to go, head to options, set up round timer, and we'll default to 50 minutes, which is great. It'll default to the time you're doing this and the date. And if you want to, you can schedule it to start. So if you're going to say, okay, it's going to start in 10 minutes. Like, again, useful for Discord. If you say, hey guys, get into your room, set up your tables. We're starting at 10:20, and the end time will be 11:10. Then you can schedule a timer. But for now, we're just going to hit start timer, and you'll see it running here. And the event's running. People are playing their games. This is great. When they finish their game, they can put the result in manually themselves, and it'll appear on here for you. Or if you want them to come to your desk and you want to do it manually, that's fine. Or if you're doing it via Discord and you want them to message you, that's fine. You can do it. It's very straightforward. You select on the table. You select Open Scorecard. And you say which player won. So let's say Phil won this. You then note who had the first turn. Useful for tiebreakers. And then you submit the score. Confirm. And we now have a submitted score, one loss. So at any time during the event, you can check the placings. As if we have one result in, it'll simply show one result. And on the placings, it'll show the Discord name as well. So back in the pairing section, one thing you will need to do is automatically assign the win for the buy. They can do this themselves, but the default for doing this is selecting they win over first turn and submit score. Now, during a round, you can add new players if you need to. You simply go to the roster, add player. I'm going to add myself. So it already knew when I entered the email that I am Stoneblade for the OP at Stoneblade, and I'm going to check them in. So again, it's going to say, you don't have a list. Are you okay for them to check in? Yes. So this was going to check that I haven't assigned a deck. If I'd select register, then I could log in and assign a deck. But for this purposes, we're going to show that you can overwrite it if you need to. But worth noting, if there is no deck assigned, no renown will go to that deck if you're running this as a bronze tier event. Create the terms of service, and I have checked in a new player. So this was happening during round one. Let's say I turned up late to my own event, or a player turned up late. Is what we're actually replicating here. If you go to pairings, because I've already done the buy, I can't add the player. However, if they'd arrived within time and I'm thinking I'll let them have the buy player, I can swap in, but it won't let me because there's already a score, because I've already submitted it. This is a reason we don't have it automatically assign a win for the buy player. Right, we have this late player. We've already assigned a win for our buy player. Now let's set a scenario where we haven't done that yet, and they've arrived just 2 minutes too late, and so we want to pair them with the player who had the buy in the first round. That's fine, they've arrived in time. Give them a reminder that next time, please arrive on time, but we want to get everyone as involved as possible. So how do we do that? Now, if you try and add them with a submitted result, you would go to swap player on this menu, select the new player, and you'll get a warning saying you cannot swap players with a scored pairing. Right, so we need to fix this. What we do is we select the game, go to options, and clear the score. It says, are you sure you want to clear? Yep, we do. And I'll only clear the one we've selected. But it's also automatically added Stoneblade here as a loss because they're a new player. So we need to clear that one as well. So what we can do is we will, the buy is on table 0, so the new player is on table 0. So going back down to table 3, we will swap players and we'll add in Stoneblade. And it will automatically remove the 0 versus 0 scenario. So we're now back to 6 players and we can let them play. Give them a time extension, which seems fair for the fact that in this scenario, they're 7 minutes late by the time we've sorted it all out. So we'll give them 7 minutes to play their game on top of the current time. So let's fast forward ahead now and say we've got results for all the tables. Okay, let's jump ahead to all the scores being submitted. We still have time left on the round. It's up to you as a tournament org at this point. If you want to say, no, we've said the next round is going to start this time, you now have, in this scenario, 40 minutes to do what you want, or you can just crack on with the next round. I normally recommend that once all that you never advertise the time of subsequent rounds, you just say they start after the preceding round has finished. So in this case, we are ready to finalize the round. We have all the results. Our players are waiting. They want to play the next round. This is quite straightforward. You simply select Finalize Round, and the round is done. So if you then go to placings, you will notice that we have a leaderboard with wins, opponent match, percentage, all set up here on our leaderboard. So we're ready to go for the next round. You head back to pairings. You select, and if there's anything that needs fixing, you have the options to go back in and open the scorecard and change them if you need to, or change the table if they give both players losses. If there's been some sort of issue there, you can do that before going into the next round. But we're ready to go. So we're going to pause the timer because why not? It doesn't need to keep running at this point. And we're ready to go for pairing the next round. So we select next round. It says, again, would you like to start the timer? I tend to select later. Still showing us pause. And we have our pairings. So we can tell everyone to go find the tables. You're good to go. And once everyone's set up, we can start the round timer. And again, we just go to options, set up round timer. We can send pairing notifications out as well. This is worth noting that if we're in a large event and there's people around with their phone, they've got their link, we can send them an email and say, hey, you've got a new pairing. And now all my friends who I've set up on this are going to be, why have I got an email? Just to show you get a notification, show the email's gone out. Okay, so we set up the round timer again. We can also set a delayed timer if we want to, but we're just going to simply start the round timer and away we go. Now the round's running. You're likely to get people drop out after tournaments. So let's say our guy who came late has lost this round. He's turned up late. He's lost his first two games. And he's thinking, I just want to go home. So let's put that score in for him. This is pretty straightforward. We simply go to the players menu and drop player. So are you sure it drops player? Yep. And they are dropped. So they'll still show here, but they will not be paired in future rounds. It's worth noting that if you go to the roster, you can do it here as well. He's now marked here as dropped. If we select him, we can update this. We can undrop him and bring him back if it was a mistake. We can delete him completely from the event. It's probably not likely to be needed unless they just were never there in the first place. You can undo the check-in, so they needed to change their deck. These are things you can do in the tournament if there were issues. You'd normally do these before the first round, but then you'd click update. But just to show, it shows here as dropped. So we have to look to the pairings, and we'll fast forward again so that we've got results for everybody. Okay, so we've got the round 2 scores submitted. We've dropped Stoneblade from the event. Worth noting here that despite the fact that Justin won his first round, he was paired against Tim, who lost his first round. The software will do this automatically. He got the pair down. There were 3 winners. Only 2 of the winners could play against each other. So again, we finalize the round. We've got all our scores. We're happy. Away we go. Now, let's say something's happened. Everyone agrees they want to end the tournament early. You can always do that. Instead of going to the next round, you can end tournament. You can go to the top cut. If things have changed during the tournament, you need to change it based on, this is why I said when we set up tournaments, put the maximum number of rounds in. Let's say we were expecting 20 players and we only got 10. Well, you set the number of rounds required to 20, and then you end the tournament at the correct number of rounds. Now, we've got 6 players, so we're going to play 3 rounds. So we will go to the next round. So we'll select next round. We'll go later for the pairings, but we've got our new pairings now. We've got our 2 unbeaten players. Tim's been given the bye here. And then we can start the timer when everyone's ready to play. There we go, 50 minutes, and we're off. And again, I'm going to fast forward now to have some results so you can show what happens after the 3rd round. Okay, so we have scores for everyone in a record time of under a minute. Obviously, I'm fast forwarding through this for the sake of the video. Once we're ready now to finalize the 3rd round, we select finalize round. And it's because we set this up as a 3-round tournament, it's going to ask us, are we going to end the tournament or are we going to make there to be a cut? I'm going to show you what happens now if we're going to make a top cut. So we select top cut, and it'll ask us how we want to do this. Now, it'll always be a single elimination for the top cut. We're not going to set it to Swiss. Are we going to do it by number of wins? Are we simply going to say, hey, if you've won 2 rounds, you're in the cut. Congratulations. That's one option. We can do it by player count, like we are cutting to the top 2 players or top 8 players, and it'll do the top players. That's how it will work. Now, if you want to continue Swiss for the bottom brackets, you can. It's not likely to happen. A bit of information here to allow you, if you want to give them something to play, to give them something to do, it essentially automatically generates a side event for the players who haven't made the cut. Nearly always you're going to select single elimination. If you do that, it'll go to a top cut, and it'll carry on as normal until we have an overall winner. Now, I'm going to cancel this because we're ending the tournament. We're going to say this is an evening event, 3 rounds. We're happy to end the tournament. So we select end tournament and then end tournament again. And here we have our final standings. Justin went unbeaten, not unsurprising. Phil comes in second, and then so on. Now, there's something really important to do here. If you're running a bronze event and you want to make sure your players get renowned for the decks that they've registered, this is where it's important. Once you've got your final standings, everyone's had a look, you've high-fived everyone, you've handed out your physical prizes that you're using for the event, everyone goes away happy, you need to head to this options section here and submit to circuit. Now, this is important. When you set up the event, I set this up as a bronze event. So this is going to do renown based on bronze. I have permission to do a bronze event. As a store owner, you will likely only have casual and bronze available. When we start, or I'll start in the future allowing you to run silver tier events, you'll get a digital token that will unlock that for you, and then the renowned awarded to the decks and the placings for the players for the leagues will all match that. So I'm going to hit submit to circuit. I have no unused tokens. So this is because I've set it up on an unapproved organization. This error will come up if you somehow manage to schedule an event that you do not have permission to do. Obviously, I've set up an example event, so I don't actually want to submit this to the circuit. I don't want to give wins to these players when they haven't actually played, so that's why I've not signed this as it is. If you do get this error and you're thinking this is a mistake, that's when you contact us. We can fix it on the back end and you can submit the results. But what message you'll get if this is correct is simply thank you for submitting, and your players will get the renown for their decks and they'll on the leaderboard for their wins. And there we are. We have run an 8-round event. Players have had a good time. It's gone smoothly. It's all run on a web browser. You can run this on your phone if you want to. Very simple, straightforward. Any changes you need to make, you can make throughout the tournament. I've shown you can add players, drop players. You can even, before you submit the end of the tournament, you can go back to the roster and you can have them prompt them. We'll go on here again to submit their decks. Like, wait, we're going to submit this. We need your deck before we submit. So we can fix that as well. So there we go. How to run a tournament using our online tournament software. Hope you found this useful. If there's anything we haven't covered, again, feel free to contact me at op@stoneblade.com. The email will appear at the bottom of the screen now. We likely produce more videos in the future when we get to token events and we're assigning other things other than casual and bronze tier events. I'll do a video to show you how to do that. In the meantime, have fun and speak to you soon.